All right, Shalom. With the ISUPK started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohana. It's Officer Karafi speaking from the UK school, covering in for Captain Parashyah. Captain Parashyah will get here soon. So get your questions, all lined up and so forth. So we got Black Watch, which is every Monday by Commanding General Yohana, 2 a.m. UK time. Make sure you stay awake for that. You can watch it on ISUPK United Kingdom. You can also watch it on Commanding General Yohana. So if you go on YouTube, type in Commanding General Yohana. The class is Monday 7 to 9 at 394 Large Road, B18 5PW. Tuesday, live from Manchester, 7 to 9 on ISUPK United Kingdom on Facebook and YouTube. Make sure you watch that live from Manchester, man. If you're from Manchester, you normally know the surrounding areas, Leeds, Huddersfield, Sheffield. Where else is North? All the northern cities, man. You know what I mean? Make sure you log in, man.
Yeah,
Make sure you log in.
Bolton.
Contact the brother and contact the school, and we get you locked in after to the up one. Also, class Wednesday, which is the law class, 394 Lodge Road, B18 5PW by Officer Dom Bar. We also got Thursday class as well, which is today, scripture breakdown class by Captain Parashyah. I'm filling in, won't be here too long. You know what I mean? 394 Large Road, B18 5PW. Okay. Also, make sure you watch On the Ends every Friday, 9 to 11. Watch that as well, yeah? Any questions online, make sure you type them in. How about any questions or anything you want to bring out? Or
No, I'll say I don't have any questions at the moment.
all right, no sweat, no sweat, no sweat. Shalom to Kayan, Eddie, Zayakwa, Tai. Let me see what I've got. All right, cool. So give me give me Exodus 1:1.
Come on, come on.
We're gonna go a bit into the Passover. For anyone that don't know, the Passover is when's the Passover again? April 15th. So that is when next week.
Go on.
Next week
Thursday.
Thursday. Next week Thursday. So gonna go a bit into the Passover, let you know the history of it, where it come from. You know what I mean? The oppressor got a day they call D-Day, and it's the day that they won the war. It's the day that Britain won the war against the Germans, the Nazis, and they celebrate that day. And Passover is our D-Day. Passover the day that we was in slavery and we come out of slavery and the Lord killed our enemies. See, the oppressor will try and make you, if you talk to an oppressor or another nation or even a Christian, they will try to embarrass you and they'll say, so then you got a day that you celebrate the death of another nation. That's vile and that's barbaric. And you tell them, so then why do you celebrate D-Day? You know, why do you have a Remembrance Day, man? Why is it okay that your people celebrate the death of their enemies, but we can't celebrate the death of ours, man? You know, so dig the history of Passover, where it came from. If you could start from Exodus 1:1, but for sure.
Come on, come on. Book of Exodus, chapter 1 and verse 1. Now these are the names of the children of Israel which came into Egypt. Every man and his household came with Jacob. Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah. Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin. Dan and Naphtali, Gad and Asher. And all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls.
There you go. So we went into Egypt. Why? Because there was a famine in the land. And it said 70 souls came from Jacob and went into that land. So we started off 70 people. So it was aunties and uncles and children and nephews. And in total, it was 70 people. And we went into the land of Egypt. And we came out a great nation. Just like the UK. We came into the UK, a couple granddads, a couple grandmas. And what happens? You have grandchildren. We after a while, we got second generation, third generation, fourth, fifth. We multiply. But before that, we just one race, one generation of people, 70 souls that went into Egypt. And soul does not mean the spirit or puff of smoke. A soul just means a person, according to the Bible. You know what I mean? Not all the times a soul don't always mean a puff of smoke or your spirit. You know what I mean? Let me prove it to you. One moment, if I can get it. Sorry, carry on.
Kind of walk on. Um, and all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls, for Joseph was in Egypt already. And Joseph died, and all his brethren, and all that generation.
So all that generation that died off. You know what I mean? So our first generation, the brothers that went into Egypt, why? Because there was a famine. There was a famine elsewhere, but Egypt. Kind of like the Windrush. The Windrush there was no work in the islands, so the Windrush came to the UK. You know what I mean? Had children and settled here. Same thing back then. There was no work nowhere else. There was no food nowhere else. You know what I mean? To get food, you need to get like if it's a drought or famine, you can't have food. You need food to survive. If you got animals, your animals need grass. And if there's no grass, so your animals can't eat. If your animals don't eat, you don't eat. You don't get no milk. You don't get no mutton. You can't get no leather. You can't have no clothing. And that happened in Egypt. Grab it. I also, if you hold that, Alban, keep a hold there and get me Ezekiel 18 and 20.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 18 and verse 20. The soul that sinneth, it shall die.
There you go. The soul that sinneth shall die. A soul is a person. Saying the person that sins shall die. You soul. Again, I keep telling people the Bible has context. And soul in the Bible ain't always talking about your spirit, what's inside. Your soul can just be you. So when it says 70 souls went into Egypt, it means 70 people went into Egypt. You know what I mean? A spirit can't die. When it says the soul shall die, it means you as a person, you shall die if you sin. If you want to eat pork, crab, shrimp, lobster, if you want to take drugs, smoke drugs, if you want to, have sex with another man's wife or your woman having sex with other men, even though you got a man, that soul shall die. Jump back to Exodus, Parashyah.
Exodus 1 and verse 7. And the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly and multiplied.
And what did we do? When Egypt, just 70 souls, just 70 people, and we multiplied, man, like what we always do. Like what we came to the UK, one granddad. Do you know in the UK we couldn't go as a family? One man of a household had to go to the UK. And what was the plan? That plan was that man to go out there and bring the money home. We get the youngest man, the one with all the potential. We put all the money in him. Ralban, that would have been you, man, in the Caribbean. Everyone would put the money together. I'm like, right, Ralban, go to England and get that pound for us, man. Right. Bring back all them barrels and send for us. And likewise in Egypt, man, there was a famine in the land. We were broke. So what's the best thing to do? If there's no food in this land, you go to the next. Right. Even birds do that, man. Even birds migrate. Well, why do birds migrate from one country to another? Because the weather changes and there's no food in that land, so they go to a land where there is food, and then come back later on when there's food back in the original land. So we went to Egypt and we multiplied, had children, had wives, do what we do, multiplying, creating big families. Keep it in.
And waxed exceeding mighty.
And we grew big and mighty, with loads of us. Just like the Windrush, man. We came with one grandfather came over this one, and after that we grew and grew and started to have shubbies and house parties. And after that, the press go, too much black people, man. We got to put a cap on this immigration system. We got to sort out this migration system, man. We got to say no more Caribbeans can come over here, man. We got to deport them back. That's what happens. We come over here. Wherever we go and we grow mighty. We grow mighty. We come to the UK. Guess what we start to do? We start to dominate the Olympics, man. We come to the UK and we get brothers like Lewis Hamilton that dominate the Formula One racing, man. You know what I mean? You get brothers like Raheem Sterling that dominate football. We grow big and mighty. Keep it in.
And the land was filled with them.
And the land was filled with us, man. That's what them press got too much of them gully ones, man. You let one of them in and bloody hell, they take over the whole world, man. It's too much of them. That's what they always say about us. Come back. That's what they always say about us, man. We just grow and grow and grow and take over the land and become mighty. Our music becomes popular no matter where we go. Look at the islands, man. The Caribbean islands on the map are dots. They are just dots, man. And why is it all over the globe? People are fascinated with our music, man. Right. People are fascinated with our music. People are fascinated with reggae. They're fascinated with soca. They're fascinated with how we dance and everything, man. all over the globe. But you go to Canada and people are fascinated so much that there's a white band called Soldier, SOGA, JA, and they won the best reggae award, man, which was a spit in the face. But how do these white men from America even know about reggae, man? How do they even know about soca? As usual, wherever we go, we grow mighty. Our culture spreads. Everybody wants a piece of it. Everybody wants some of it. You know what I mean? The children and grandchildren of the same white people that call us gollywogs and niggers in the 60s got braids in their hair now, man. The children, the grandchildren are the same people that say, go back to your country, piss off to your country, man. And now listening to reggae music, man. Talking about I'm a driller and talking about from the ends and speaking like us, man. Those are the grandchildren of the same people that hate black people. Why? Because our influence is so strong, man. Keep it in.
Now there arose up a king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph.
There
And
you
he
go.
said unto his sorry.
And Joseph was a man that brought. Joseph was a black man that wasn't Egyptian, but was in the land of Egypt that saved Egypt, that made Egypt rich, man. Don't that sound familiar? Who saved England from being poor, man? Who cleaned up England after World War One and Two, man? When there was no more labor, there's no more work, and the workers, all the British workers were dead, and the British man was too lazy to go and drive the bus himself, and the British woman was too lazy to go and clean up the country herself, man. I heard it in the 60s, the white man was like, I ain't driving no bus. And who came and drove them buses, man? Who came and cleaned the streets, man? Who came and built the London Underground? Who came and started nursing people and built the NHS? Black people did, man. Black people did it. Just like back then, Joseph was a man that saved Egypt, man. Just like how we saved England. And guess what?
Right.
His grandchildren got no recognition for the work that their grandparents done. Just like the Windrush, man. They want to lock us up and kill our children and kill Bashar and Charles. When Bashar and Charles' granddad is the reason why England is in a great state, man. Bashar and Charles' grandmother is the reason why England is in a great state. Bashar and Charles' grandmother is the reason why the policeman that killed him got a job. If Bashar and Charles' grandmother only knew that she worked so hard to help a policeman kill her grandson in the future, she would have a heart attack. If Mark Duggan's granddad only knew that he's working so hard so in the future a policeman can kill his grandson, he would have a heart attack. That's what I'm saying.
You know something? Give up. Well, Shalom. Yeah, you know what the officer said. It's heavy. Just like in the time of Exodus, it was blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians that made ancient Egypt great, man. You know, you can in your own time look at it, look at the Hyksos, and even in Egyptian history under Hyksos, even they admit that they came from the east and they brought inventions into ancient Egypt. Even the use of a horse, it was the Hyksos that taught Egyptians to use the horse with the chariots that the Egyptians had. That was Hyksos influence, man. And it's just like in the UK, man. It's just like in America. We influence, we make inventions. Then what happens? The same people that made them great in the empire, they hate them, man. They forget about what you did for them. They forget about the Windrush. They forget about the making of the London Underground. In 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 London right now, everyone worships that London Underground, man. You can get from south to north in about 20 minutes, but yet hate the people who built that underground, man. Hate the people that worked under there, had no protective equipment, man. And you hate them people that make London great, man. The people that worked on the M-ways, done all the welding. You hate them people and you forget their works. You forget what they did to make where you live great, man. And it happened in ancient Egypt. The Hyksos taught them the use of the horse, man. Before that, Egyptians didn't know what to do with the horse, man. They did, yeah, you know what I mean? They probably eat it. God forbid, you know what I mean? They didn't know about a chariots. Why? Because we're from the east, and in war, a chariot was the norm. They didn't know about that, And it was us when we came into Egypt. We taught them those things and some weapons. There was like there's an Egyptian weapon that they're known for. That's also Hyksos influenced as well. So we came and we, taught them many things which people now, if you don't research, you will believe they're just Egyptian in its origin, but it's not, man.
Right.
It's blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. We brought those inventions into Egypt. Why? Because we always had them, man. Just like in America, it was a black man that invented the door handle, man. Something as simple as a door handle, a black man made that, man. On those HGVs, it's got the fridge on it. It was a black man that made that. He made a van and a fridge that he could keep the goods cold. You can research it. It was a black man in the late 1800s that invented it. A refrigerated truck, man. That's the invention that we made. And guess what? They hate us for it, man.
Right.
Even though they use it in everyday life, they hate the people that made it, man. And that right there is ancient Egypt. So many people read the Bible and go, how was it like back then? I wonder, what was it like? Listen, it's like now. We came into Egypt, made it great, and they appreciated the inventions, but hated you, man. They liked that the invention made life easier, but they hate the person who made it. And it's just like in America and the UK, man. You make inventions, you build them up, and they appreciate the work. Sorry, they appreciate the results of the work, but they hate you, man. And that right there is ancient Egypt. And that's why we gotta celebrate the Passover, man. You know what I mean? April 15th
Correct.
is the Lord's Passover. And remember this, man. The same way we're reading about the time of Exodus, we are living it again, man. We're living it via the UK, via America, via Jamaica, via Brazil, via America. Wherever we are living that same scenario again, man. Where, you know what I mean, you come in the land and you help them people, and then they deal with us wickedly, man. They deal with us bad and then hate us for even talking up, man. And just like in ancient Egypt, what did Pharaoh have to say? You're not working hard enough. Isn't that what they say now?
Mm.
As a black man, you complain, that's racist. Listen, man, just go get a job, man. Talking all that racist talk. We're all drinking at the same fountain, man. What are you talking about, mate? When guess what? They're oppressing you, man. And they got the
Yeah.
nerve to tell you to get a job. What happened in Egypt happens now, man. But let's read on in Exodus.
Khan. And he said to his people, behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we.
So now let's break it down, man. So, thousands of years ago, the ancient Egyptians, we was in their land, we gave them inventions. Then they looked and go, the people, they are more and mightier than me and we. So first off, let's break down the more. What does that mean? Meaning there's more of them than us, man. And it's not rocket science. Imagine this: in the early 1900s, we came here and we was a minority. You gave it 60 years, there was black communities damn near almost all over England, man.
Right.
We are a people. We can populate, man. Listen, like, you know what I mean? We can come as 100. You give it 60 years, we will be in the thousands, man.
Right.
You mean? And just like now, just like back then, we was multiplying, man. I don't know if you're aware of this, but black people don't find it hard to have kids, man. You can look it up. In a white household, they find it hard to have one child, man. You know what I mean? They're taking drugs, they're going to suburban banks, they're doing all kind of things just to have a son, man. In a white household, to have a child, it's a big deal.
Right.
Now, of course, we don't know these things because being black and Hispanic having a big family is just second nature. Having multiple sons, multiple daughters is second nature. But among white people, having kids is like a big thing, man. Lord and Christ. They gotta see doctors. They gotta, what's that thing? Have a sperm count. They gotta do all those things. While as for us, having big families is natural, man. You mean you just look at your wife, the belly gets big, man. You're like, what are you doing? Oh, sorry, oh shit, like again. What happened, man? You be you be around you be around your wife. Achoo, I'm pregnant again. What? Again? That's how easy it is for us, man. You mean? Let me tell you something. We have kids so much. Your wife gets pregnant by accident, man. And guess what? You wasn't even drunk. It just happened, when you're like, bro, like you're pregnant again, like, yeah, man, like shit. I got to work some overtime, Yeah. You know what I mean? Guess what? That's natural to us. But for some people, it's not natural, man. In some white households, they find it hard to have one child. And guess what? In ancient Egypt, they saw how we was more, man. They saw like, yo, this man in 10 years has a kid for every year, man. What the hell? You know what I mean? They saw it, man. Why? Because the Lord has blessed us with that we can multiply, man.
That's right.
You mean it's not hard work for us, man. While as in some nationalities, to have kids is hard work. They gotta see doctors, get this check, that check, change their diet. They gotta do things that we would never have to do, man. You could be a black or Hispanic alcoholic and have all the kids in the world, man. You could have all kind of issues, and you are going to have families, man. While as for some people, they gotta change their diet, man. They gotta see doctors, have a sperm count. You know what I mean? Like, well, you kind of low this month, this and that. For us, it's not the case, man.
Right.
You mean we don't even know what that is? I'm sure some of you like someone really has to do that to have a child. Yes, some people they gotta take drugs, man. All these fertility medicines, and guess what? I'm not saying. Okay, I'm not saying there's not one black family, but as a majority, we don't even know what those things are, man.
Right.
We don't even know it exists. While as for our oppressor, it's normal. He's gonna see a doctor once a month. So now the count's gonna higher. You know what I mean? You gotta just eat a bit more, do a bit of this, do a bit of that, and then at the right time, then they have his first child. While as for us, some of us have some kids at 16 by accident, man. You know what I mean? 17, 18, 19, 20. Some black men have kids in the 60s, man. Right. In a white household, once they're 60, it's a wrap. He can't have kids biologically. He just can't do it. While as for us, you got some black men 60, and they can still get out some sons and daughters, man.
That's right.
Why? Because the Lord blessed us that way, where we have kids, and it's just the way it is, man. You have kids by accident, man. You just pat your wife on in the back, the belly gets big, like, oh yeah, sorry, again. You know what I mean? We got it like that, man.
Correct.
You walk to the house, you might just a bouncer by accident. The next day, I'm not feeling well. You know what I mean? You take the test and you're pregnant again, man. You know what I mean? That's how easy it is for us.
Right.
So in ancient Egypt, they saw that we was more, so we broke down that part. Now the mightier. What's the mightier meaning? We're strong, man. It's not rocket science. Obviously not so much as now, but in the 90s, when it came to British boxing, black people run that, man. Nigel Benn, a Chris, a Eubanks, Frank, a Bruno. In the 90s, Benjamites ran British boxing, and Lennox Lewis as well, man. People see that we are mighty. It's not rocket science. That listen, these people are strong, man. It was black men that was holding UK boxing on their back, man.
That's right.
There was no white boxers holding it down, man. When it came to Joel Cal Azagi, he came towards the end, man. He beat a Eubanks after he came out of a retirement. You know what I mean? White British boxers came later, but in the prime, it was all Benjamites, man. That made England, that put England on the boxing map, man. That that went to America and had those big fights. People see that we are mightier. Imagine
Yeah.
this: in England, we are a ethnic minority, and this minority is holding boxing on their back. That shows who is mightier. If we're here not as much as you, then realistically you should be holding it on your back. But instead, the minority held up. You mean they held up England, man? Which shows that we are mightier. A reader.
Khan. Come on and let us deal wisely with them.
So now here's the problem. They know that we are mightier. So remember, they don't like us though. So what do? They deal wisely with you, man.
Right.
Right.
They deport the Windrush, man. That's called dealing wisely. You mean
That's
you don't want to say blacks? You done the hard work. It's time to go home. What do? Well, you don't have a British passport, so we gotta get rid of you. That is dealing wisely, man.
Right.
When you harass black men and say, "Well, I could smell weed in the car," that is dealing wisely with us. You do know by law, if an officer believes if an officer believes that you have any kind of drugs on you, then they believe, guess what? They have the right to stop your car, to search your car. They believe it. They go, listen, I could smell weed. So by that law, I have the grounds to, empty out your car, open the boot, you know what I mean? Searching the glove box. And that is dealing wisely with you. They oppress you, but they make it seem wise, like, well, we're doing it because of this. We're in Handsworth because of the knife crime. When you don't care about the knife crime,
Right.
but you want to oppress me, and you do it wisely. You don't do it up front. We hate you. We want your gun. We want you out here. You make it seem like it's wise, like we're doing this because of this. And this has to be done because in Handsworth, in a month, 2 people were stabbed to death. So we gotta harass everyone. We gotta drive around. We gotta do this. We gotta do that. We gotta do this. You know what I mean? And that's the problem. Really, they're dealing wise with us. Right.
I was just adding on to what you're saying. I'm saying sometimes they'll even want to search your house just by smelling. Like they don't find nothing, they can smell it. They'll want to even go back to your house and search your house.
There you go. If you didn't hear it on the microphone, what Trooper Bradaya Allah said, you know that with some of them, from searching your car, they can go to searching your house, man. They go, well, listen, I believe there's a drugs on this man. I could smell the weed on him. So from searching maybe your car or your place of work, they can then go to searching your house. And that is dealing wisely with you, man. You know what I mean? And listen, they don't smell no weed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's obvious. There's a book I had. It's in the school right now. It's called Behind the Uniform, written by Helen Elizabeth. Now in London, she was a officer, and then she writes about really what they do. And the book is called Behind the a Uniform. Then the subheading is the people that protect us, we need protecting from. That is the title of the book. So even she's admitting that we assume that police are meant to be protecting us, when really we need someone to protect us from them. And in the book, she said it. She goes that if an officer goes, he can smell weed on you. That gives him grounds to basically harass you, man. To basically take it out the car, search you, take off your jacket, take off your shoes on the roadside, man. And it goes, sorry. And what she said is that many times they know there's no weed on them, but you know what I mean? Because they don't like you, they will use that as an excuse to harass you, man. And guess what? That is dealing wisely with us. What happens to us now happened in ancient Egypt, man. Let us deal wisely with them. Let's oppress them, man. I'll give you another one. Even these jobs, you know what I mean? There was a article I had one time where a lot of these jobs, a white worker gets paid more than us, even though you're doing the same job. So you start the job and you believe, well, if I'm on £9 an hour, you would assume everyone working there is on £9 an hour, but it's not the case,
Yeah.
man. That white worker might not be a lot. He gets a extra pound. So, but you're on £9 an hour, he's on £10 an hour. Then also from the hourly rate you got, they deduct for like holiday pay, sick pay. You mean basically they take more of you and less of him, even though he's got the a pay rise on that job. And it's an article from the UK where they admitted that black workers are actually paid less. Just that because we don't know, of course, we don't do anything. But other ethnic groups in the same job or in the same industry, they get paid more. Their holiday pay is more. Their sick pay is more. And that's researchable information. And just like in ancient Egypt, let us deal wisely with them, man. You know what I mean? A reader.
Go on, Walker. Lest they multiply and they come to pass, that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us.
And there you go. Listen, they're afraid, man. There's a reason why they oppress us. There's a reason why they hate us because they're afraid of us, man.
Right.
That white man that's calling you a wag, you know what I mean? Yeah, he's angry, but subconsciously, he's afraid of you. When he sees you walking, you are a ruler, man. You walk like you own the place. As a black man, you walk in. That's a walk of dominion, man. That's a walk of ownership, and he sees it in you that, rah, it walks like he's the boss. Subconsciously he knows you are the ruler by your demeanor. You're outspoken, you're loud, and subconsciously he knows really you're the ruler of this earth, and he's afraid of you, man.
That's right.
All that racial abuse is fear. All that hate really is damn. He acts like he owns the place. What about one day if he does own the place, man? What about one day if that walk matches the power he will have, man? He's gonna walk like that, and he's actually gonna own the place, man. And that is fear. And they are afraid of you, man. England is afraid of you, even though they got all the money, even though they have all the wealth. There's something you got that they could never have, and it's called the Lord God of Israel, man. But guess what? You have a promise by by being black, Hispanic, and Native Indian. There's a promise that you got which they could never have, and it's called the kingdom of heaven, man. You got access to that just by your bloodline, and that's something no other nation can never have, man. Regardless of how rich they are. On Facebook, I posted a video. I was in the no, forgot the name of the place. I was in the Don Acasta. It was the Don Acasta a yard, so it's by the sea. And I don't know who this oppressor is, but it had like these silver bars, loads of them on the docks. It was his, and basically came from like Italy, I believe. And listen, he's rich, man. You know what I mean? The video I put on Facebook, I'm like, look at this, all wrapped up, taped up, and that, loads of them on you know what I mean? Damn near that. I don't know how much it's worth, but it's definitely a lot. Loads of bars just all stacked up on the bundles, stack over here, stack over there. A trailer came filled with it, and it belonged to one man, man. Now listen, even though he has all that, he's afraid of you, man, because you got something that is worth more than all of that, man, and you got it by inheritance, and it's called being an Israelite, man. You got something greater than that, and in the kingdom of heaven, he's giving you all of that, man, and that's why he's afraid of you. He's afraid that all what he has there in the kingdom is gonna have to give it away, man. And that's why subconsciously he's afraid of you. All that hate and the black jokes and all those things is fear. It's not what they believe. No, these people are great, man. These people, so many inventions was made by them. These people are the foundation of civilization right now. Even though no one appreciates them, really, when you do your research, these people hold up damn near every empire, man. Whether it's by their inventions, whether it's by their minds, whether it's by their work ethic, we do it. You know what I mean? And nations know it, man. They know it, man. Reader, and it's like it, and they're all afraid. Why? Because if they don't oppress us, we might one day go, you know what? We don't want to be here anymore, man. And we might join their enemies. We might take all these abilities to another empire that does appreciate us, man. And that's what they're afraid of. We get oppressed, even though you are told to go. They don't want you to go. You're oppressed here, and they want you just here, so that you don't leave, and also you can't leave, man. Why? Because they don't want you to join someone else and make them great. And that's what life is all about. It's about we hate these people, but look what they did. They built the London Underground. They've made, you mean, these people have put England on the map in athletics, in many things. We hate them, but they can't go because if another a country accepts them, then they're going to take all that over there. So we hate them, but they can't leave. So what do? We oppress them. We keep them just there, where they're working, they're getting by, they're getting fed, and we don't like them, but we can't let them go. And that's what happens in America, man. That's what happens in England. And guess what? That happened in ancient Egypt, man. Reader.
Go on. And so get them up out of the land.
And so let's break that part down. And so get them up out of the land, meaning what? Make them integrate, man. The land with the Hyksos was in ancient Egypt. They said, you know what? Let's get them out of the land. Let's make them integrate. Don't don't make them stick to their own. Get them up out of the land. Let's get them mixing, man. Let's get them integrating. Let's get them learning some Egyptian ways, man. Just like in England, at one point in time, black people stayed in Handsworth, Aston, they stayed in Leicester in certain parts, Manchester in certain parts. And what did they do to divide us? Get them up out of the land. Yes, they live in a Maasai. Make them live in Hume, man. Make them live in a Trafford Park. Let's get them out of the land where they are. Let's divide them, man. Let's make them mix up. Let's make them integrate, man. Let's make them go in the pub, man. Let's make them do this, man. I'm gonna say something. Let's make them have that Sunday roast with us, man. The carvery with us, man. Why? Because they want to get you up out of the land. They want to divide you, man.
Right.
And then when you're weakened, then guess what? You can't fight, man. You know what I mean? So now, even like now, as a nation of people, we are weakened. Why are we weakened? Because we believe we're English, man. We are a part of England. This broke my damn heart almost. Frank Bruno one time, he goes, yeah, I know that with the royal family, they've done some racist things, but with the queen, that is my queen. Frank Bruno got up out the land, man. He's integrated. He believed that the queen of England is his queen.
Right.
And that's what happens when you get people up out of the land, where they become integrated. They believe they're a part of their society. And that's what ancient Egypt did to us, man. The Hyksos, which was us, we lived in one or two specific parts in the land of Egypt. The land of Goshen. And what did they do to weaken us? They got us out of the land. They made us integrate with the Egyptians, learn their ways, made us think we were part of the Egyptian way of life. Just like England, we was in Handsworth strong, man. Had black businesses. You want to know a fact? Handsworth was called Jamaica at one point, man. That's the most black place there. It's a fact. You can research it. Like in a Must side was filled with black people. And then
Right.
what? And then what? To divide us, you gotta make them integrate, man. You gotta divide them. Make them think they're English, man. Make them go to that pub. Don't tell them, you black bastard, get out the pub. You know what? Welcome them, man. Make them have that pint next to you, man. Make them watch Aston Villa playing, man. Make them have that roast. Get them up out of the land, and that's what Egypt done to us thousands of years ago. Yeah, Crafty, go ahead.
And they call it opportunities. Jump on it like shit.
That's right, man.
It's like scholarships and you go like make you wake enough. They make you go to another school out there. We call it up. They call it word out there opportunity.
That's right, man. If you didn't hear it on the microphone, what the author said is heavy. Really, it's called get them up out of the land. They call it opportunity. You're gonna get more opportunities. You're gonna get another chance, man. You can go learn over there, man. You can learn to be a bricklayer over here, and then you get some white friends, man. And those things, it's not an accident. They want to divide us, man.
That's right.
And they do that by what? Getting you a part of your land, your community where you are. They want to get you out of it, and they call it opportunity. You know what I mean? Yeah, you can learn over here, but if you want to be the best, it's better that you go learn over there, man.
Right.
And now he's over there for 1 year, and what? He thinks he's English now, man. My queen. Yeah, but that's my queen, though. Listen, man. Frank Brewer needs to shut up, man.
That's right.
Right.
I mean, all you're known for is that dumb laugh. you know what I mean? I'm not being funny, you know what I mean? You shouldn't be saying nothing. Just laugh some more, man. You know what I mean? And let us decide what's what, man.
Mm.
But that's what they did. They got us up out of the land, man. And with Nigel Ben, he believed that the Queen of England is his queen, man. And he shouldn't be talking with that Essex accent, man. You know what I mean? He's got nothing to say. And then a Eubank as well, man. I believe he was United. Because Eubank, you know what I mean? Matter of fact, all of them are Banks, Ben, and Bruno. All of them are 90, man. They believe that the Queen of England is their queen, man. Why? Because they're up out of the land, man. They are integrated, and that's what happens. You know what I mean? If you think you're a part of them, then you can't be a part of us, man. You believe, but I'm British and I know that black stuff, man, there, but listen, I'm English now. And that gets you up out of the land, man. That divides your nation of people. Go ahead, Dustin.
So like I said, could you imagine if you was a slave getting beat and raped and all sorts of stuff? One day your great grandchildren are gonna accept a award of the grandchildren of the man that beat you and raped you and whipped you. Like, oh, girl, you know what I mean? Like that, I can't get my head around it. It's like imagine right now someone put a gun to your head and pull the trigger, and little do you know that in the future, the same your son is gonna accept an award of the son of the man that pulled the trigger, and that's black people as a whole. Eubank, Nigel Benner got awards from the same people that rape black people and rob black people. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, so what do you think about that? Like, isn't that crazy?
That is very crazy, man. And then, like, I've watched online when they got united, they were so proud, like, of achieved something. Like, if you love your great grandmom, you would never take that, man. Even in the 60s, look what black people went through. And it's true, it is selfish, man. It is very selfish. And that happens, again, like in ancient Egypt, when they get you up out the land, man. It divides you from the love of your people, man. It divides you from what your people went through and goes, well, me, I'm Egyptian. Like now, me, I'm English, man. I'm British.
Yeah.
Being like, I'm a British, man. You know what I mean? That for this country, I've boxed hard. You know what I mean? And that's what happens. And that same thing happened in ancient Egypt when they dealt wisely with us, man. Reader.
Therefore, they did set over them taskmasters.
And there you go, man. Suck it. I've got to break this down, man. They set over us task and masters. That's
Right.
that job, man. Who thinks he's the best thing on the earth, man?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? If you know what I mean, once they become a manager, they've made it, man. They are a taskmaster, a taskmaster. Meaning what? Meaning, okay, that would be a modern day manager. And that's what they divide us, man. And that manager, gosh, he thinks he made it, man. It won't give you no blind. I gotta write you up, man. You was 5 minutes late. It's like, you know what I mean? I don't want to do it, but it's my job, you know what I mean? I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, like, you prick. You know what I mean? And you know what's funny? Eventually, they're gonna get rid of you too, man.
Right.
That's right.
While you're doing me like that, one day they're gonna want a white manager and they're gonna pay more. And guess what? You are going to be gone, man. And that happened in ancient Egypt. They set taskmasters over us, man. People that was making our life burdensome. Suck it, your heads up.
You can't, and they never get. They all get your own to be taskmaster, just like in Egypt, to get your own people to be taskmaster. You know, I don't know why they do that, but they always, even slavery, like they will make one slave less than a slave. If that makes sense, and allow him to beat the others. And just like in Egypt, there's one slave is less than a slave to make sure we do our work. Even today, if you got a black manager, you think, oh shit, yeah, man, I got it nice.
No, you don't.
My manager's black, I got it good. And you little do you know you don't. And that man, they put him in a place where he's under pressure, so he got to shine as well. He can't lack.
Yeah.
So it's one big horrible circle.
There you go. Like what you said,
Right.
that's heavy. You mean even though we don't like him, he's getting held too, man. You mean I want all this done today, and of course he brings it down. So of course his life is hell, but you remember you don't see those on top because you see him. So he's making your life hard. His life is hard, and that's what they do, man. And that happened in ancient Egypt. They set a people above us who made our life hell, man. Who made our life grievous, and it's the same thing, just like today. Read on.
And they set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens.
And there you go. They afflicted us with their burdens. So let's break it down. So now, okay, whose a burden is it? Afflict them with their burden. So whose a burden is it?
It's like you
Uh,
said.
So like the Egyptians.
No. But Dayala.
Is it like the taskmasters? They've been getting like told like in a certain way, so they're willing it down on you.
There you go. It is in their burden. And of course, we got a afflicted because why? We're doing the work. So the taskmaster Egyptian, like, listen, I want the pyramid built tonight. You're like, oh shit. And then what happens? He's afflicting us. Why? Because he's got this a burden. And that's what happens on like these jobs. As people, we are afflicted, man. Imagine this as a grown man. A man's telling you, if this work ain't done, you can't go home. You know what I mean? For those of you that have worked in the catering industry, that's what some managers say. Listen, you know, if all this ain't washed up, you can't go home because there's gonna be no one else here. So I know you're meant to go at 5, but listen, that has to get done. That is affliction, man. You as a grown man, a man telling you, listen, I know you're meant to finish at 5, but if this ain't done, you ain't going home. And he would never tell you that outside of work, though. But imagine, you know what I mean? Because you're trying to make ends meet, someone's afflicting you and you take it, man. That is oppression right there.
It's like even in the past, some stuff that I put up with from these slaves in the past, just to get the peas. Like this, I was not now in the truth. Was ridiculous. The shit, the comments I've taken from managers and so forth. It's affliction. I'm like, yo, I'm a grown man, telling me, well, that ain't done. You ain't going nowhere. Like, who you talking to, man? Like, you can't hold me. Like you can't hold me hostage. I'll go where I want. But it's just mad, like the things we go through and the things we put up with just to make ends meet. You know, and so I can do stuff illegal as well. You can't even say stuff to that. If you went to ACAS, you could raise raise something.
You mean that is a threat? if you don't finish this year, you ain't going home. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna do something to stop me from going home. That is a threat. It's like if Passer Vidal al the mic.
Yeah, something like that happened to me a couple months ago as well. You know what I mean? We was working on the rail now, and we was meant to be there till 5:30 in the morning, and like it was the work weren't like, you know what I mean, it was not finished or whatever. So the guy was like, "No, you'll have to stay." We like, what? We got off, we left it. We go, you're gonna have to do that yourself. You know what I mean? Cause we're only here till half
Half five.
five. You know what I mean? And like the people I was with, they had another job. They was going from that job straight to another job, so they couldn't even like say that they're gonna do the work. You know what I mean? And carry on. You know what I mean? Like the guy was pissed. You know what I mean? I swear.
So beat, man.
Beat him out was mad. They go back the next day. They said, "Oh, don't send them guys back."
Whatever. But you see though, that's affliction. As a grown man, someone's telling you if this ain't done, you ain't going home. Nah, I'm gonna have to do it next week, man. Or when I'm working again. But you should not have the power to tell a man. Matter of fact, they don't. They just hold that, you want to make ends meet. They hold that over you. But that's the affliction. Someone telling you if this ain't done, if this a task ain't met, then guess what? You can't go home till it is done. That is affliction right there, man. And like in ancient Egypt, it happens now. But you know what I mean, you're just trying to live, and someone's making your life tedious, man. Someone's making your life a burden, telling you, well, listen, you can't go home, man. And I'm meant to finish at 6, but with the guy on the a night shift, he's not in yet. So what? What's the guy doing with me? You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm finished at 6. You know what I mean? If anything, you might have to hold it down, but you can't. Like the officer said, you are a manager. The root word of manager is manage, meaning you manage the situation. If something's wrong, you manage it. You can't tell a man, listen, you can't go home. You're the manager. You manage till it's fixed. Go, Crafty. There you go. That's heavy. That's heavy. Like the officer said, that's an example of afflicting a man with your burdens. It's your burden. You're the manager. If the night staff have not showed up yet, you're the manager. It's your burden. You deal with it. You can't tell the morning staff no one's going home with the night staff that haven't arrived yet. You can't do that. As a manager, you manage and fix it. You make it right, make the calls, do what you got to do, but you can't tell someone else, listen, you can't go home. And that's how it was like in ancient Egypt. Reader.
Confirm. And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pitom and
And there you
Ramses.
go, man. I'll break it down. Just like the Windrush, we built the London Underground, man. And what the London Underground is famous. Just like in ancient Egypt, we built cities that people loved, man. It was valuable. It was a place where, it was a wonder to look at. Just like in London, everyone loves that London Underground, man. Go ahead, bro.
It's like I think the devil one time at camp with Captain Shot was here and making it like black people worked, but what we did wasn't significant. It wasn't too much. I like what you said. That London Underground is important. Without the London Underground, probably 60% of Londoners couldn't get to work in the morning. It is important. They rely on it. Politicians rely on it. It's what the main source of transportation in London. For him to make out like black people, they did their thing, but that was then. It was no big deal. We impacted London, all of London, not just north, south, east, west, all of London. Majority rely on that. Even drivers rely on the underground because they encourage people to take their tube more than to drive. It comes every 3 minutes. See everyone looking at their watch, waiting for the next one to come. And we did that. We impacted this whole country.
There you go. Like I said, in London, the London Underground, it is essential. You know what I mean? Believe me, you don't want to drive a car in London, man. If you have to, then so be it. But listen, to get from a north to a south, it takes an hour, and London ain't even big. But for you to drive is that bad. The London Underground helps. And listen, what we built in London is valuable. It is needed. And likewise, like what the officer said, at camp, this oppressor acting like it wasn't that big of a deal. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, the Windrush, it came here, but what it did, come on, like, it's not that great. But listen, with London, that underground speaks for itself, man.
Right.
Even everyone that makes exit will always do the back in the
London Underground. There you go. You know what I mean? Which shows even they know the London Underground is needed, it's essential. And like in ancient Egypt, we built some good places, man. Cities of Ramses. You know what I mean? Things that in that time you walk them and go, that is nice, man. Just like in London, the underground's amazing. A train every minute from north to south, east to west. Exact same thing, man. Reader.
But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew.
And there you go. That's the problem. The more they afflicted us, the more we multiplied and we grew. And that's blacks and Hispanics, right? Right there. Regardless of if we are oppressed, we're gonna have babies, man. You afflict us, we're having kids, man. You give us a hard day at work. We're going home to basically lay up with our wife, man. You afflict us at work, we're having sex, man. And that's what happened. The more they afflicted us, the more we grew, man. You know what I mean? You can even research it. Sex relieves the mind, man. So if you're afflicting us, what do you think we're going to do? We're gonna, you know what I mean? We're going home and we're gonna do something, man. Jiggy jiggy on deck, you know what I'm saying? If you had the song, but you know what I mean. But that's what happened in ancient Egypt. The more they afflicted us, after that hard day of work, we had kids, man, and we grew. And they knew that, like, we're making the life hard, but they're still multiplying, and that's what happened. Reader.
And they were grieved because of the children of Israel.
And they were grieved, man. Just like in England, they're grieved, man. When you're walking around with that hoodie. But for them to even see you, it's like they can't stand you. They grieve like, what the hell are they doing here, man? I see this black man walking with this and you know, and with his hoodie on and the loud music in his car and the gold and, you know what I mean? For us to even be here, it is grievous. Just like in Egypt, those Hebrews, man, I can't stand them, man. Just always around, man. Just like in England, just like in Egypt. The sight of us, it grieves them. Why? Because we are multiplying, and guess what? They're seeing more of that, man. They hated us when it was one of us. Now you're seeing 10 hoodies, man. You got 10 cars playing loud music, and the more they see, it's just grieving them, and they hate it, man. Go ahead, Crafty.
So what you said was deep. Like I remember in the early 2000s, and there's a big thing about hoodies. Like hoodies, a piece of clothing, and they're saying, "Oh, we're gonna ban hoodies," and you can't wear hoodies in the shop. I don't know if it's still it's a thing now, but back in the day, you go into the shop, your hood has to come down. I thought hoodie's a piece of clothing. Like this, is how much you hate black people. You gotta find something that we like to wear and ban it. And then even later, and you don't stop. Everything we do, want to ban. They want to ban. Say this drill music's too dangerous and it's promoting violence. Everything we do, we just gets under their skin. You know what I mean? Just, you know, everything we do gets under their skin. They can't stand it.
There you go. And like I said, and really, it's because they hate us. They hate what we do, and it's not really what we do. It's us. Listen, we could wear the. You mean we could wear the hoodie. It would always be something else, man. Why? Because they are aggrieved by us, man. The fact that you're there, you just being there, that's the problem. It's not the hoodie, it's not the music, it's not the gold, it's not, you know what I mean, anything you do, it's you. And like in ancient Egypt, they was aggrieved by us. It was nothing we did. It was not our mannerisms. It's not how we walk, how we talk. All it comes down to is us. And that's all it is. Like in England, it's not the hoodie, it's not it's not how you talk, it's not the hip talk. Really, it all boils down to you. You're here, and that's the problem. Go ahead, bro.
So what you say is deep, and a lot of black people don't understand it. Like, I hear black people argue back all the time. Like they talk about knife crime in the end, and then black people say, "Well, Edinburgh got a bigger knife crime and white people's there. They'll talk about the hoodie and people say, "Well, white people hoodies." And fair enough, brothers are trying to tap back and whatnot. But what black people don't understand is it got nothing to do with the hoodie or the knife crime, just you. So we're trying to say, "Well, white people do this, and white people also do this." When really the bottom line is got nothing to do with, you know, white people do also. It's the fact that they got a problem with you. It's not about It's not about white people wearing hoodies. It's about you wearing a hoodie, and that's what we don't understand.
There you go.
Right.
Like I said, I couldn't say any better than that. In their eyes, the problem is us. Listen, we could wear suits, ties, not do all of that.
Mhm.
It would be something else. Yeah, but I'm just grieved. They'll wear that suit a bit too loose, you know what I mean? And then now that'll be the issue. It will always be something. Why? Because it's us. And like in ancient Egypt, they was aggrieved with us. Regardless of what you do, the real problem is you being there, you being alive there, you walking around where they are, man. And that's the problem. I'll give you an example. In America, in the South, I didn't know this even existed. There was something called a laughing a barrel, meaning when a black person wanted to laugh, they had to put their head in that a barrel. And again, it's us. They can't even take our laugh, man.
Hmm.
The black man, you being there and you laugh, it grieves them like they're laughing, man. It's so annoying. That loud black laugh. You know what? We're gonna have to make a barrel for them to laugh in if they want to, man. And that's really what it comes down to us. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can say. All of it comes down to you being alive where they are. That's all it is.
Right.
Khan. And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor.
And now, what's rigor? Does anyone know what the word rigor means?
Got another one. Harsh bondage.
All right, let's look it up. Let's get the exact definition of the word rigor.
The word rigor, the quality of being extremely thorough and careful, or severity and strictness.
There you go, man. So basically, yeah, you know what I mean? Rigor is hard work, but the key part is severity of strictness. Meaning it's strict. You can't do this. You can't do this. That's wrong. This, that. Meaning they made your life so hard. You can't do this. Well, we gotta restrict that. Black people like this. No, this, that. They made our life hard, man. You know what I mean? Just you being there, all these restrictions on your life. That's rigor. I mean, it's a life which is severe, strict. Like you can't do this. That's wrong. You shouldn't be like this. Black man, you should talk like this. You should be like that. That's rigor. Meaning what? A life where you don't know what to do. What can you do? What should you do? Go ahead, Crowley.
Would that say go to the same thing where the white man will pay what £2.50 a month for a whole house, front garden, back garden? And black people like this per room.
There you go. You mean if you've never heard it on the mic, in the time of the Windrush, a white man he paid a £2.50 for a whole house, front garden, back garden. You pay £1.50 for a room, man. That's strict, meaning a black man wasn't allowed to have a whole house. You know what I mean? They wouldn't let a black man own a whole house, and then you pay so much for one room. And then the next room was rented out to someone else for £1.50 as well, and another room till it got that bad. They would even take the bathroom out of the house so that they could make another bedroom, man. That's rigor. The white man, he's free. He's free to own the whole house. Rigor's for you though. You're gonna get one room, man, and you gotta wash outside. The toilet is outside. Imagine that in the winter, you're going outside, man. You're washing in the cold, man. That's rigor. And like in ancient Egypt, it's happened in England, it's happened in America, and wherever we are too. Go ahead, bro. Yeah.
Paying rent, like, it don't punishment.
There you go. And then you had to wait to bathe. So of course, remember the house isn't yours, so there's other rooms in the house. So you had to wait, man. And if you wanted to make something to eat, if someone else reached the pots and the cooker before you, you had to wait, man. And that's rigor right there. It's strict. But they're owning a whole house free. You know what I mean? Can use the bathroom when they like. They can make some soup when they like. Your life is with rigor. You can't use the bathroom when you want to. You can't cook when you want to. And that's what they do to us, man. Reader.
Can't come. And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage.
And with hard bondage, man. What's that hard bondage? It's called a dead end job, man. Hard bondage right now, it would be a dead end job. Where you know what I mean? There's no light at the end of it, man. You know you're there and there's no getting out, man. You know what I mean? You work to that same job, and guess what? They're making you do all the work, man. While you're working hard, there's other workers there, and they are having a conversation with the manager, man. You know what I mean? You're working hard, he or she, they're laughing with the manager, like, what the hell? Hang on, like, they get paid like me. And then when you say something, well, they are going to work. I was gonna talk to them about something, and then you're told to go here, go there, mop this up, clean this, and the other person's chilling, man. You know what I mean? I shouldn't talk about this, but I used to work at McDonald's years ago, man. You know what I mean? And I know you can't imagine me with a McDonald's hat on my head. You know what I mean? And listen, don't imagine it. Don't imagine it neither. It wasn't me. I mean, that person was in the world. He's dead now. Captain Parashyah's never worked at McDonald's in his life, right? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? But yeah, man. And listen, as a black man, you're doing everything. And guess what? The heathens, they're on the window, man, doing the a drive-through, doing nothing. You're mopping, making burgers, cleaning the vats, draining the oil, and they're just on the windows or on the front, just taking orders. And that's rigor right there, man. That is hard bondage. Go ahead, bro.
You know, when you come to interview, look at you, yes. You found something.
If you said on the mic, they have to say on the mic. You know what I mean? But what is it? It was heavy. You gotta say on the mic.
So lucky, like as a black man, even when you come to the interview, they look at you, you walk through the door like, yes, we just found someone for the kitchen, we found someone for the mopping, we found someone for the hard work, and then Becky walks through the door like, okay, yeah, we found someone to greet the people, we found someone to do the light work. As a black man, you walk in like, yep, we found our new slave, and that's it. Lucky.
There you go. It's true. On the interview, they look at you like, yeah, you're gonna do all of that, man. We're gonna rest, and guess what? You're that worker. And you know what I mean? Listen, I've been there, man, in the past, where you are basically running the place. The business is solely run by you, while everyone else is lazy and on the windows, on the counter, and you are literally down there holding the workplace up on your back.
Right.
You know what I mean? Reader.
Can't. In mortar and in brick and in all manner of service in the field.
And there you go. So we were serving hard bondage and everything in mortar and brick, so meaning the construction work and in all manner of work. So anything, any occupation that was available in ancient Egypt, we serve hard bondage in that. It's like I got 2 questions online. Start from the first one. Slaki other one. Can I get a breakdown on Psalms 31 and verse 14? Let me put the question up so you can see. So Cheyenne Bakunda, that last name. You might be asking where are you from? So yeah, just let me know where you're from, right? And I got another question. Actually, I'll answer it in the meantime. So let's get what's it? A Proverbs 31 and verse 14. Proverbs 31 and 14.
Proverbs chapter 31, verse, verse 14.
Alright, let's grab that.
She is like the merchant ships. She bringeth her food from afar.
Sucker? No, yeah, it's Proverbs. Suck, yeah. To that point, if you read that one more time, 31 and
Another one. Proverbs chapter 31, verse 14. She is like the merchant ships.
okay.
She
So now,
bringeth.
so I'll break it down piece by piece. She's like a merchant ship. So let's start right there. So what does a merchant ship do, man? It brings in goods. I mean, a slave might be goods, you know what I mean? But the point is, a ship carries goods. So this is talking about a woman who is a virtuous. Now, the word a virtue, if you look it up, it means ability. It's nothing, miraculous. It's a woman of ability, not a woman that's on Instagram all day. A woman that has some abilities. And now, a virtuous woman, she's like the merchant ships, meaning what? She knows what to buy, trade. You know what I mean? She knows what is on a discount in the shops, man. She knows, you know what I mean? I can get 11 of these for £1 instead of getting one for £1 over there. She's like the merchant ship. Do you know what I mean? Basically, she knows how to do deals. That's all it's saying. But let's read the rest of it.
She bringeth her food from afar.
There you go. She bringeth her food from afar, meaning what? If she has to go somewhere far for that for that 6 for 1 a deal, that's what she's gonna do, man. She it could go to that shop down the road, but she's like, nah. In this household, I can get more if I go down in there, man. And she gets that food from afar, meaning what? She knows offers, deals, basically. She has ability. She's not lazy and goes, listen, I don't want to go nowhere. I know it costs a lot over there, but it's just around the corner. She's like, listen, for this household, if I can save money, if I can get a deal, that's what I'm gonna do. She has the ability to think that listen, if we get more for less, we are saving money. That is a virtue right there. It's ability. So that breaks down 14, verse 31. 31 was
Jump to 31.
yeah, come please.
Give her of the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates.
So what does this mean? Meaning, because this woman is good, let her have a reward, man. Let people know what kind of wife you have, man. Her hands are excellent, man. She's looking after you and the household. Let her have a reward in the gates. Let every man know what kind of wife you have, man. Which is what it's saying. If your wife is good, let the world know you got a good wife, man. Don't, you know what I mean? And also it's the right thing to do, man. You know what I mean? She's looking after you. The least you can do is let the world know what kind of wife you got, man. You know what I mean? Make her feel good, man. Like, listen, you know what I mean? All that hard work could do. Everyone knows that I'm that kind of woman, man. And that's what the Bible's saying. Let her have her accolades for what she's doing, man. Which is what it's saying, basically. So that answers that one. Okay, brother, I got you. It's from a Curacao. Good. No, sir, brother. Yahweh Bashem, Hawashai, Barakafa, Curacao in the house, man. You know what I mean? We need to go over there one of these days, man. You know what I mean? Trust me. What? Listen, I kid you not. Down the line, I'm trying to go everywhere, man. Trust me, but money's a problem, though. You know, we talk about it later. All right, so I got another question. A breakdown on Deuteronomy 22 verses 23 and a 24 says by Aisha says if a virgin woman has betrothed to a man and laid down with another man, how come the punishment for both of them was the same as adultery? How come the punishment of the both of them were the same as adultery? Let's read it first here. Let's get Deuteronomy 22 and 23. No. All right, let's get
Deuteronomy chapter 22, verse 23. If a damsel that is a virgin be betrothed unto a husband, and a man find her in the city and lie with her. 24. Then ye shall bring them both out unto the gate of the city, and ye shall stone them with stones that they die.
Okay, so the question is, why do they die like the punishment for adultery? Okay, the reason is why? Because that woman is meant to be his wife, man. That woman, you mean if he didn't have sex with her, they've betrothed, meaning what? With the families, they've agreed, they've shook hands on it, and then you had sex with her. So in a deviant kind of way, you have committed adultery because you took a man's wife, even though he didn't lay with her yet, and that's why you die. And the woman, why? Because she knows that what she's meant to be the wife of this man, and she lied with another man. So that's why they die. So that's why the punishment is as adultery, because even though they haven't had sex, the agreements have been made, and those agreements have been broken. That's why they get the same punishment as adultery. You got something, Crook?
Come on, Carl. So basically, it's like this man got arrangements to be with this woman,
Mm-hmm.
and next man just runs in and takes her. Like before, man could even say if she's for him or not. Couldn't make a decision yet. Like the agreement was there. You know what I mean? And you just jump in there and take what's mine. Like, you know what I mean? That makes sense, sir.
Yeah, no, yeah. So that's the point. That's why they get that punishment like a adulterer, because it is. You mean with the woman, she knows whose husband she's gonna be, and of course the man, because why? They are meant to have sex, but they haven't yet, and then that man just, you know what I mean, had sex with her before he did. So that's why they get the same punishment like a adulterer would.
And
So like today, like
1 second, stop one.
is that like today, like you know a woman ain't with a man yet, but she's just dating him, taking it easy, and you just jump in there and say, you just jump in there and take him, and like that's what's wrong. Like a woman ain't laid down with a man yet, but they're talking, going on dates and whatnot. You should leave her, man. Let her go out with that man and do the things. You just jump in there and yeah, man, come up with me then instead. That's what's wrong, man. Like even in the spirit, that's what's wrong. Like she ain't married him yet, but she's going on dates, she's feeling him out, they're both feeling each other out. Just leave her to it, man. Like don't intercept.
There you go. I mean, I couldn't say any better. Tezap one, you had something as well.
yeah, like so within that betroth, would some cases then be the fact that that man's already paid the dowry and stuff like that as well?
Well, okay. In this verse, it don't say, but the point being is, she's meant to be with
Like that man might have already paid for his wife, so to speak. Put money.
It might have.
Right.
But the thing is, this verse don't say, but the point is, she's meant to be the wife of someone else, and then she had sex with another man. So basically, the punishment as a adulterer. Why? Because really, that man she had sex with, she wasn't meant to, and that man that had sex with her, he's not meant to. And really, you know what I mean, that man who was meant to be with her, he's meant to have sex with her. So that's why they get the same punishment as a adulterer or what they did. That's the point. So again, the verse don't say about the dowry and stuff like that, but the point is, you know what I mean, she's meant to be with someone else, and another man just, you know what I mean, he beat him to the punishment, and his punishment is death, basically. That's it. So Aisha, you understand? I got you. Yeah, go ahead, Prophet. Yes, sir.
Even in the world, like
Sorry, it's in the mic just to break it down.
even in the world, like brothers know it's wrong. They hear brothers say, he went and got that girl knowing that I liked her first. Like even in the spirit, like everyone knows it's wrong. And no one's there, man say, he knew I liked her first, and he went and got a number. Like, what kind of shit is that? Like that's just like unbrotherly. Even in the spirit, like man in the world, even know it's wrong. Like even though she don't like me back, probably she don't know I exist.
Mhm.
The fact that you know I like her first, and you're gonna go, you know what I mean, draw her quick. That's just wrong.
There you go. And like you said, even in the world, there's an unwritten rule in the world where that's wrong. You have friends that fight because stuff like that. So meaning, even though of course it's in law, even in the world, being black, Hispanic, and Native Indian, in inside of us, there's something that lets us know that's not right. And of course, it comes from the laws of God. Because
Right.
even in the world, someone does that, you don't like them. Of course, you don't put them to death, but you don't like that person. And in the Bible, it breaks it down that that's adultery. That she's meant to be yours, or you know what I mean. But now she's off limits, so no other man can lie with her, and the punishment is as an adulterer, if everyone understands. All right, no
Okay.
sweat. All right. Any questions in the class?
Mm,
No sweat.
No, sir.
I do have one question if I could.
You sure? Yeah. Go ahead.
Me.
Yeah. Right.
Come, sir. It's in Ezekiel chapter 18, verse let's see, verse 20. So it
Okay.
says, it's one that correctly brought out. It says, "The soul that sinneth, it shall die. The son shall not bear the iniquity of the father, neither shall the father bear the iniquity of the son." And I was
Okay.
just wondering if you could break that down, because I know in some instances, you know, we are being punished for the sins of our fathers, and um, those are in the Bible. It says like the when we wrong when we do wrong, like our children are punished. They may be born with certain illnesses and disabilities, things like that. I was just wondering, kind of,
Okay. So I got you. So of course, in some verses in the Bible, with the kids, they get a punish for what their for others done. In
correct.
this verse, saying that you mean the soul that sinneth, that shall die. So okay, in its context, when it talks about you get a punish for what your a father's done in Exodus, it's talking about it's a generational thing, while as in Ezekiel, this is individual. If that makes sense.
Right. Yeah, I thought it was that.
So yeah,
Kind of.
so that's a bit. And then the precepts, it's in a Jeremiah where a time will come where we won't get punished for what our fathers done, but again, that's more generational. What's that? Jeremiah 31 and 31 about the new covenant. So let's get that. So we'll break that down. So in the Bible, the prophet Jeremiah, he was letting us know that that was even coming to an end. That a time's gonna come where now you pay for your sin. Um, it's not. Let's see.
31 and 31, sir.
Um, looks like let's start from verse 29.
Another one can. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 31 and verse 29. In those days shall say no more, the fathers have eaten a sour grape, and the
Uh-huh.
children's teeth are set on edge.
All right. So what does that mean? Go ahead, Grub. Just like you want to say on the mic, break it down. So now it's saying that a day's going to come. So we're gonna break down what the grapes are and your teeth on the edge being.
So basically, if you eat sour grapes, your teeth rotten. But the Bible saying days coming where like our father eat sour grapes, but our teeth get rotten for it. Days gonna come where that's not gonna happen no more. Meaning your father's messed up, and that's they messed up. That was it. We so like I said, I got messed up.
Ain't no sweat. Okay, then so basically this is the analogy. Imagine my granddad. He ate some grapes. Remember now, he ate the grapes, and now I'm alive in this generation, and now with my teeth, they're on edge, meaning they are rotting away for what he ate. Meaning what I'm paying for what he ate. The Bible saying a day's coming where that's gonna happen no more, man. These are generational punishments that have happened to us. That's gonna be at the end. Where now, when it comes to your teeth, they're not paying for what he did. My teeth are not on the edge no more. Read the next verse.
Another one come. Verse 31. But everyone shall die from his own iniquity.
Uh-huh.
Every, every man that eateth the sour grape, his teeth shall be set on edge.
And there you go. All that a generational thing that happened to us so many times. Now, if you eat that grape, your teeth are on the edge, meaning you pay for it, man. You know what I mean? They're gonna be no more. He did that in the past, and the Lord's angry with that line, so I'm paying for it. There's a day coming where that's not happening, and that's what the prophet Jeremiah envisioned from the Lord. That, you know what I mean? All that a generational sin, and the Lord's paying back this and that person. A time's coming where even that's gonna be over, man. That's gonna be done with. Where now everyone pays for their sin. So you know what I mean. You want to add that with Ezekiel as well, all right?
Come on, sir.
I got you. How about you had a question as well?
Still okay. I just wanted to ask. It's been a while since I heard. Why is it that we wear fringes again? And also, is it the law or is it just like Hebrew tradition, like Israelite tradition, that we wear them?
Okay, in the Bible, fringes is the law. What's the chapter? Numbers 15 and
15. Yeah.
15 and 38 or something around there.
Yeah.
So yes, to wear fringes is the law. It's not optional. Now, with that being said, you know, fake Israelite groups, they wear fringes everywhere, man, on the job. Now, keep this in mind, your garment is not just your everyday wear. A garment is like it's a dedicated piece of clothing. So on a holy day or in class, you know what I mean, where I have a dedicated headpiece, shirt and that, you mean fringes should be on that. It doesn't need to be in your McDonald's shirt, man. Have some brown fringes to match the brown stripe on the shirt, man. You know what I mean? You don't need that. You know what I mean? What's some other jobs? But anyway, you know what I mean? You don't need fringes on your pajamas. You know what I mean? Those things, it's people not understanding what a garment is. The point is, any dedicated clothing you have, that's where the fringes should be on. You know what I mean? So that's pretty much it. But let's get it. Numbers 15 and 38. Was it?
Come. Yeah.
Another one come, sir. 38. I got it.
So what?
Read it at the cheaper.
This is the book of Numbers, chapter 15 and verse 38. No, 37. And the Lord spoke unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and bid them that they make them fringes in the border of their garments throughout their generations.
All right. So we start right there. So now it's a law. It's saying that now in this context, the word bid, it means make them fringes on the borders of their garment. So now here's the other thing. With your fringes, they shouldn't be on the bottom of the t-shirt. That's not a border of your garment. So even that in itself, that's wrong. A border is where two pieces meet up. It's like a land. A border is where what you have Mexico and America. That is a border. The bottom of your shirt is not a border. You know what I mean? It's like England and Scotland. That is a border. You drive far enough, you'll see the flag and the sign, welcome to Scotland. You drive back, welcome to England. That is a border, meaning what? Where the parts are meeting up. So for instance, on this shirt, you see where the material is meeting up here? That is a border right there. You know what I mean? Even here, well, on some shirts, you have the line there. You have it here. That is a border. The bottom of a t-shirt is not a border. So even when they do that, that's wrong anyway, because that's not a border of a garment is not a garment. Your shirt is not a garment, number one. And two, that's not even a border. In the borders of your garment, if you have a jacket where the material meets up for the arm, in the UPK, you got brothers that got fringes there. That is a border,
Right.
a seam basically. On any clothing that you dedicate to the work of the Lord, where the seams are, that's the border, and that's where the fringes should be. Read on.
Another one come. And that they put up upon the fringes of the border a ribbon of blue.
And you mean like what you see in the UPK, we have the fringes, and then we have a ribbon of a blue as well, like what you see. Read on.
Another one come. Verse 39. And it shall be unto you for a fringe, that ye may look upon it and remember all the commandments of
The Lord. No, sir.
the Lord, probably.
So now again, that shows you where fringes are meant to be. On the bottom of your shirt, you're gonna look at that and remember the laws of God. It's meant to be on you that when you're moving, you see fringes. I gotta follow these laws. It's gotta be on you. If it's just dangling at the bottom of your shirt, you're living life, man. You're walking with your head high, man. You got fringes here, on your shoulders when you're looking. That's gonna make you remember the laws of God. So even that right there, how you see in the UPK, you know what I mean? When you see on you, like the brother over here, he's got it on his chest. You know what I mean? You walk by, and there's a mirror or something. Rather fringes, the laws of God. You got them here as you're moving. You're lifting up something. The laws of God. At the bottom of your shirt, who really looks at the bottom of the shirt while they're living everyday life? Like you don't do that.
So not only is it at the bottom of the shirt, some little 2 millimeter fringes, man. It's like what's that gonna do, man? You know what I mean? It's not about that. Like, but if you carry on, it's gonna explain something.
There you go. So you know what I mean? We're gonna read on, but even while it's telling you while it's for having it on the bottom of a shirt, it would never make sense. It's gotta be something that you see, it's on you that you know what I mean, as you're interacting, living, you see and go, the laws of God. Read on.
Another one come. And do them, and that ye seek not after your own heart and your own eyes, after which ye use to go warring.
Read on.
That ye may remember and do all my commandments, and be holy unto your God.
And there you go. So when you see these fringes on you, that ye may remember and keep all the commandments at the bottom of your shirt, you ain't gonna remember any fringe, man. When it's on you, when it's on this border, that border, you mean this border here on your jeans, you mean you might bend down to pick something up. You were going to remember it. So even to have it on the bottom of a shirt, it's not right for the reason it don't make sense. So yes, you mean with fringes, it is a law, but again, a garment is dedicated. It's a clothing that is dedicated to the Lord. That's a garment. So you know what I mean. Go ahead, bro.
John 13 and 4.
All right, let's get a preset for the fringe. So with Yahushua, he had fringes as well in John 13 and 4. Oh, this
To
ain't
prove what the garment is. The
the
garment
garment.
ain't any piece of clothing. It's
Okay,
dedicated clothing to the Lord.
I know, so like this preset here show you that a garment isn't just any piece of a clothing. That you know what I mean. A garment it's like a uniform basically. It's
Right.
dedicated for that job. All right, so let's get that John 13 and 4.
Book of John, chapter 13 and verse 4. He riseth from supper and laid aside his garments.
There you go. So he laid aside his garment, man. Any more?
And took a towel and girded himself.
So you're saying that Christ took his garment off. So basically, if garment was clothing, then that means Christ was naked, man. We know Christ was naked. I mean, he took his uniform off and started to wash the disciples' feet.
Oh, I got yeah, most of the yeah. So you want to definitely add that into your precept book to what a garment is. Also in the Zondervan Bible Dictionary, it lets you know what a garment is as well. That a garment isn't just any piece of clothing; it is a dedicated piece of clothing. It's a uniform. So you can also find that in the garment section in the Zondervan Bible Dictionary. You know what I mean? So you definitely want to know those because some people think that a garment is just anything, and that is not the case. Your shirt is not a garment, man. Your added as a t-shirt with some fringes on it to match. That's not a garment, man. You know what I mean? It is a uniform, and you know what I mean. That is a garment according to the Bible. And again, if you go in the Zondervan Bible Dictionary under the a garment section, I believe it is, it will even let you know that as well. All right. So I've got another question. Slaki Adawan, can you break down Timothy chapter 2 and 11? Um, okay, which one is it? Is it the first Timothy's or the second one? If you just type it in and we can answer it, right? Sounds like if you pass a Radaya ala the mic.
Could you break down Matthew 13? No, Matthew 11, 13
Matthew 11 and 13.
to 14, like around there, 14, 15. I don't really understand
I got you. Ain't no
that
sweat.
part.
Let's get
Matthew
Matthew
11
and
and
13.
13 and 14 to face 15. I mean to 13, 14,
I got
something
yeah.
like that.
Ain't no sweat. All right, let's get that Matthew 11 and 13.
Book of Matthew, chapter 11 and verse 13. For all the prophets and the law prophesied until John.
Okay, so now in the mosque, they like to use this and go that, well, with a Christ, why is he a prophet? Really says they all prophesied on until John. But if you look at that word, it's about John. He's not saying they prophesied and then when it came to John, that's where it ended. If you look at that word, it's really about John. So meaning many men in the Bible, they prophesied about John the Baptist, and we're gonna find out why. Read on.
And if you will receive it, this is Elias, which was for to come.
So the name Elias, that's a Greek way for saying Elijah. So in the Old Testament, you read about a prophet called Elijah. Elijah in reincarnation is John the Baptist. Now, which a prophet wrote about this? I Isaiah did. Which chapter is it? About to make the paths. Him that was preaching in the wilderness. I shall send forth my prophet Elijah. I believe that's in Malachi. So meaning yes, many people wrote about John in the Old Testament. It did talk about a second coming of Elijah. One's in Malachi, one's in Isaiah about you mean make straight the paths, prepare ye the way of the Lord. If you type that one in, you'll find that. And what's the other one about? I shall send Elijah in that great and dreadful day in Malachi. So this is what with Christ, he's on about that. Yeah. Men spoke about this day, about you know what I mean, Elijah coming back. But with Christ, it's letting you know that Elijah was John the Baptist. Read on.
He that hath ears to hear, let him hear.
There you go. He that have ears to hear, let him hear. Meaning what? For those of you that read Isaiah, for those of you that read the book of Malachi, understand it, man. You got ears, but hear this, man. John the Baptist is Elijah. If you got ears to hear, if you understand the word of God, then you will understand this. Read on.
But whereunto shall I liken this generation? It is like unto children sitting in the markets and calling unto their fellows.
Okay, verse 16 goes with something else, but the point of that is that basically John the Baptist was Elijah, and that, you know what I mean, many men wrote about him, which is the point, if you understand it.
Yeah, I wasn't sure because obviously the names changed in it. Because
Elias, that
I was a bit confused
I
with
got
that
it.
part there. But yeah, it makes sense. Makes sense.
I got, yeah. Okay, so you want First Timothy's 2:11? Let's grab that, bro.
I got it, sir. I think I can break this down too, sir.
Yeah, I believe so. Let's get,
But read on.
please, yeah, please.
This is the book of First Timothy, chapter 2 and verse 11. Let the woman learn in silence with all subjection.
Okay, so you want a breakdown on this? So it's saying, of course, in the church or where the Israelites are, let the woman learn in silence. Now, some people read this and go, that is so mean. But it's not mean, and I'll explain why. In the church, you got some big mouth women, man. They won't let the pastor talk, interrupting him. They're causing them hell in the place. And with Paul, he didn't want that. What you see in the church right now, that's from not following this. Where, you know what I mean? As soon as the man played the song, some women start standing up and jumping and shouting like, "What's wrong with you?" You mean there's a video when Barack Obama he sung that song? What was the first thing that happened? Barack Obama started singing. I mean, I was born by the river. You know that song with them. What happened? Does anyone know? If you remember the video,
So I don't guess no.
he's singing the song. So woman goes woo, and she jumps up out of her chair. That's why the Bible says let the woman learn in silence. Shut up, man. Sit. Have a seat, man. That's what happened. What happened is the opposite of this. You know what I mean? So with Paul is saying, listen, end all that, man. You know what I mean? Of course, you start from verse 1 and you preset this with First Corinthians in the church. You know what I mean? There was a lot of things. There was a lot of things going on, and Paul, you know what I mean? He's put into it. Go, listen, the women, be quiet. You know what I mean? The way how to end this is, if you know what, don't say nothing, and that's the point of this. So learn in silence with all subjection. So meaning, listen, that man that's teaching, be subject under him. If he's saying no, then it's no. You know what I mean? It's not sexist. It's just called order. Because in the church, as what you see, that is no order. Where, you know what I mean? Where, of course, the context here is the women. They do what they want, say what they want, shout out when they want, interrupt when they want. And with Paul, he's stopping that basically. A reader.
Another one gone. But I suffer not a woman to teach.
There you go. So now that's the context there. He's not saying it just because he wants to say it. Because just like now, back then too, there was women that was trying to teach, man. There was women that thought they knew the Bible. There was women that, you know what I mean, thought they could break down John 3:16, man. So Paul's saying, listen, man, it's not your job to teach. And again, in the Bible, there's a rule that what men teach, even in Ezekiel, what it say, the flock of my pastures are men. So just like now in the church, you got women that say, what, I'm an evangelist, I'm a deaconess. That happens when you don't follow this. Where now you believe you can teach. And Paul said, listen, it's not your job to teach. To teach the word of God, it is a man's job. You know what I mean? It's nothing sexist, just that's the way the Lord made it, where men are the prophets, men teach the word of God. And of course, when a church is upside down, you end up with the women calling themselves deaconesses, evangelists, Miss Gordon, evangelists, you know what I mean? Where what, and you know what I mean? They believe they can teach. And Paul said, you know what? To end all that, Be quiet. I'm not allowing women to teach. Read on.
Salak Sera for me.
Yeah, good.
And I have also met a lady pastor.
There you go.
And
That's
and I know, yeah, there is so the Bible does speak of woman prophets, but if you take the Seventh Day Adventist Church, this whole belief and the doctrines are based on this woman Ellen G. White,
mhm.
her books and things like that, you know, and so her is this woman is twice wrong because now you have a woman teaching and she is not of Israel, so
That's the problem, man. That's the problem.
there's two strikes.
There you go. And at the point, he's saying, listen, we don't do that around here. A woman does not teach. Why? Because even back then, there was women trying to teach. You know what I mean? And of course, with Paul being the head of the churches, I just say that word just to, you know what I mean, make it more easier. There was women trying to teach, and Paul had to shut it down. Read on.
Canada one council, nor to usurp authority over the man.
All right, so the word usurp, does anyone know what that means? If you usurp or authority. So let's look at the
Am
word.
I have a guess though.
Okay, ain't no sweat. 1 second.
Yeah.
So one, what's the word you usurp mean?
Uh, I guess that it, you know, based on the context of the verse, I would say it's like, you know, like grabbing it, you know, like forcing it, kind of forcing.
Usurp means take by force. No
So,
woman, no woman can take by force what's given to a man. Today, women do that. You know, this is I'm gonna take this. This is mine. The Bible goes, a woman can't take by force something that's given to a man. So I read that part again.
Canada one can. Nor to usurp authority over the man.
A woman can't take authority over man by force. So I'm the deacon of this church. I'm the head of this church. Now let me tell you something. Can a woman give you advice?
Canada one council.
What's the precept?
I don't have a precept. I just remember my mom,
I'll
you know,
quote it.
all wasn't bad.
Sarah said to Abraham, cast out that bondwoman and her son. And what did the Lord say? The Lord said, hearken unto your wife. Woman can give good advice. She can. But is that usurping authority? No, it's not. If Abraham said, no, I thought about it, and this is what's going to happen, then that is what's going to happen. But women can give advice, but women don't have the last say. A man can listen to wife go, nah, not doing that. Don't make sense. Nah, it's not working. Or a man can say, you know what, that makes sense. Women give good advice. Sometimes they can do. You know what I mean? Sometimes women give terrible advice. Sometimes they give good advice. So it's not saying that a woman can't talk. It's saying that a woman can't usurp authority. She can't be in charge and leadership. And this is what's going to happen. And yada, yada, yada. Like what you said earlier, Ira, about women prophets. There was women prophets in the Bible. And what's a woman prophet supposed to do? Supposed to tell their prophecy to a husband or to the man of the school. And he'll make out if it's a silly dream or not. If she's emotional or the Lord speaking. She can't say, well, according to my dream, I'm gonna start my own church and I'm gonna do this. You know, that would be usurping authority. It's not saying women can't have an opinion. It's not saying women can't be smart and say certain stuff, but a woman can't usurp authority, if that makes sense. Keep it in. Suck it. You have to say top one.
I'm agreeing. That's right.
Oh, suck. I thought it was no, sorry. I'll carry on then.
But
And just also sometimes women give good advice.
but
It's lucky sometimes some brothers out there, the women had not been for the woman, the house would be in arrears. You know, they drink out all the rent money. Sometimes the woman's like, listen, you might want to use this money for this. You might want to stop drinking all the rent money. You might want to start gambling all the rent money. And sometimes you have some stupid women as well. Want to spend the money on the nails. It just it just depends on the situation. But the Bible got a problem. The Bible don't have a problem with a woman. It's not saying women shut up, don't say nothing. It just say that the man has the rule of the house. If that makes sense. Carry on.
Yeah, reader.
But to be in silence.
Reader.
For Adam was first formed, then Eve.
Then I'll break it down. So for the women that was trying to take by a force, you remind them. Listen, Adam was formed. Now, of course, formed. You look at that word; it means to give life. So, meaning with Adam, he had the truth first. Then Eve to break it down. Like, listen, see, it's with the man first. So you just remind them. Listen, you're not here to teach and share your dreams and I believe I should teach. I talk so nice that that's irrelevant, man.
Right.
And again as well, it's written. Why? Because it was addressing something and it had to sell it straight. And what you see in the church right now is what Paul was dealing with back then.
That's right.
You know what I mean? See, because I should teach and I should do this. And it was like, nah, listen, man, the men do the work of the Lord in that regard. That's what it is. So, the brother said, Tawada Adawan, I understand it right then. So I have to sit on that. All right then. How much time we got? We got 4 minutes. Anyone got any other questions?
Question, something that someone was asking earlier.
Okay.
It's like the reason why women cover their hair and men uncover their hair. I don't know if you've got time for it, but it's a basic.
Okay, let's get First Corinthians 11. So the question is, why men uncover their head and why women cover their head? First Corinthians 11.
And Salakia, sir, is from the cat from Curacao is a sister.
The sister. Oh, Slakia sister. Apologies. Right,
Book of First Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 7.
Okay.
For a man indeed ought not to cover his head, for as much as he is the image and glory of God.
All right. Start from verse 4.
Come on, verse 4. Every man praying or prophesying, having his head covered, dishonoreth his head.
All right. So having your head covered. Does anyone know what that is? Your head covered. Because I know what some people think that what the headpieces we have in the UPK, your head's covered. That's not covered.
Another one. The crown of the head.
There you go. So now, of course, we're in a shortened time. How you will show them that it's the crown in the book of Ezekiel? After the Lord killed his wife, the Lord told Ezekiel to put on his headpiece and go out and prophesy. So that would be a contradiction. The Lord's telling Ezekiel, listen, put on a headpiece and teach. Now all of a sudden you can't have your head covered because it's talking about the crown of your head. You know what I mean? What? Oh, if you type it on a search engine, type in the Lord kills Ezekiel's wife, and it's literally right there. So you'll break it down. And in I believe in Samuel's regarding King David, when him and his men were sad and they prayed and they had on headpieces. That was in Samuel's. So the crown. So your head covered is not a headpiece; it's the crown of your head. That's why we leave it open. You know what I mean? You see the videos and whatnot. Read on.
Salakia, sir.
Yep.
Isn't it also in Leviticus, if I'm not mistaken, where Moses?
I mean, if it is. I'll just paraphrase in them two. If there's more, then that's excellent to make the point.
I'm not sure, but I can remember that I was reading a part where Moses was given instructions on how the clothes of the priest should be.
That's an excellent one. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
But I don't remember where it was.
Remember now, with the high priest Aaron, he did the work of the Lord, and he was told to wear what a mitre, and on the mitre, what the crown is uncovered. So that clearly having your head covered isn't what many people think it is. So now that's a heavy one there. So yeah, I mean that is in Leviticus 8 and 9. So you want to drop that, showing that head covered is not what they think it means. Because even Aaron, the Lord said that he must wear that. It was his uniform, it was his garment, and that was a part of it. So head covered ain't like what many people think it means. All right, read on.
Conrad Khan. Every man praying or prophesying having his head covered dishonoreth his head.
So
But
now
every
your head is, so meaning you dishonor Christ. Why? Because we don't do that, man. You shame Christ like the Jewish man. He had the yarmulke on the crown of his head directly. That is dishonoring Christ, even though, of course, with Christ, he didn't come for him anyway. And like the Muslims with those hats, their heads covered, man. That is dishonoring Christ. That is shaming Christ, man. In the culture we have our head. The men have their head uncovered. Is the point.
Right.
Read on.
Conrad Khan. But every woman that prayeth or prophesieth with her head uncovered dishonoreth her head.
Uh-huh.
For
Yeah,
that is even all one as if she were shaven.
So now, for a woman, her crown must be covered. Like in the UPK, the women wear headscarf, and it says if it's not, what's the other part? For that is even as all as if she were shaven. So break down the analogy. Imagine you got a razor and you shaved off a woman's hair. She wear headscarf all the time, man. So saying that for her, wear that headpiece like this, your head was shaven, basically. That's the point it's making. Read on.
Conrad Khan. For if the woman be not covered, let her also be shorn.
Uh-huh.
But if it be a shame for a woman to be shorn or shaven, let her be covered.
That's what it's saying. If you felt ashamed if someone is shaved off your hair, then wear that head covering, man.
Right.
Because at the end of shorn, it has the colon meaning. The second part is explaining the first part. So it's not literally saying if a woman comes in here with no scarf, we gotta hold her down and do the razor, just start shaving off her head. That's not what it's saying. It means that she should have that same shame like her head was shown. That's the point of it. Reader.
Conrad Khan. For a man indeed ought not to cover his head, for as much as he is the image and glory of God.
So what does it mean by a man is the image and the glory of God? It means that an Israelite man, you have the knowledge, the wisdom, understanding of the Lord. That's the image. You're not talking about hands, shoulders. In the Bible, there's many verses where it breaks down what the image of God is. The image of God is at neck, head, shoulders. You're just talking about the wisdom. You follow the laws of God. So saying, as a man, you should be uncovered. You know what I mean? A woman, she's under a man. But as a man, you should be covered. You know what I mean? You're meant to be uncovered, man. You're meant to be the ruler, a dominator, which is the point. Reader.
Conrad Khan. But the woman is the glory of the man.
And yeah, man, with the woman, she's the glory of the man. And let me tell you something, ain't nothing more glorious when a woman is in order, man. That with that glorifies the man. Which the point is making that when your head's covered, it shows that you're listening, man. And that is a glory to a man. You see that man and go, you know what, his wife listens, man. You know what I mean? You got a good wife right there. And what do? You give a glory to that man also, man. Which is the point Paul is making. Reader.
For the man is not of the woman, but the woman of the man.
Okay, now, all right. If you skip to verse 10, I'll just answer the section that you wanted.
Verse 10. Sorry. For this cause ought the woman to have power on her head because of the angels.
So what does that mean? A woman ought to have a power on her head because of the angels. Meaning, as a woman, you got that a covering on your head. When you pray, the angel's gonna accept that prayer. Why? Because your head's covered, and that's why you have a power. Angel's like, you know what? Yeah, she's obeying. You know what? With that prayer, I'm gonna send it up, man. That's what I'm gonna get that. So now to show what I'm talking about, let's get Revelation 8:3 about the prayers, where they go and what happens.
I got it, sir.
Read that for me.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 8 and verse 3. And another angel came and stood at the altar, having a golden censer, and there was given unto him much incense, that he should offer it with the prayers of the saint upon the golden altar which was before the throne.
There you go. So all the prayers that we have, it's an angel that brings you up. So now, if a woman has the head covered, the angel's like, you know what? Yes, that prayer, I'll take that one. But if your head's uncovered, it's like you're not even following the right rules.
Right.
He's not listening. But if you have the power in your head, you do the right thing. The angel will receive that prayer and bring it up to the Most High. Before that, a golden altar, which is before the throne of the Most High. So that's the power right there that a woman has when she covers her head, basically. So does that answer for you? Does that bring it home? All right, and also then. All right, then we are up on the time. All right, then Shalom, right? Okay, then the next scripture breakdown class will be in America, taught by General Muhammad. So,
All right. Gonna give the teacher one kiss. Sweet man, visual. I Madiam. I Bada Shabbat. I Madiam. Barak. Yahweh Hashem Yahushai Barakatah. Yajamata. Saw. Sister I Madiam. I Madiam Shabbat. I Madiam. Barak. Yahweh Shema Alatah Hashem Yahushai. Yajamata. Class dismissed.
Rabbi Shimon said,